The metal genre has gone through a bit of an evolution throughout the decades. As a result, we've probably run into a surprise or two, whether from our favorite bands or even in ourselves. So in this thread video, I'll be giving 9 prompts to the metal community on unexpected metal fan moments and sharing some classic examples of my own. Should be fun. Stick around. Number 1 is discuss a previously unfamiliar metal or hard rock band you weren't expecting to be good live, but then they turned out to be really great. If you have an album of theirs, show that too. So let's go with hard rock with this one. This is Night Ranger with Midnight Madness, released in 1983 by MCA Records. So here's the story. Back in the summer of 1985, I was visiting Park City, Utah. It was a place I had lived already twice, once when I was 10, once when I was 15. At this point, I'm probably almost 17 years old. I got into town, I ran into my old friend Nathan. Nathan and I used to play video games together. We used to swap each other's consoles. I think he had a ColecoVision. I had an Atari 5200 and all of that. Kind of nerd out on that stuff. But ran into Nathan and he's like, hey, I've got 2 tickets to Night Ranger. Want to go? And I'm like, Night Ranger? Really? I don't know. I mean, I knew the radio hits on stuff and, they're catchy enough, but I never saw myself going to a Night Ranger show at all. Didn't have any of the albums at that point, obviously, and all that. So I went because it was free, and they were the headlining act. I can't remember who the opening act was. It was no one important. So I went to the show, and I think after a few songs, I was like, hey, this band's kind of great live. I mean, I didn't really think so before I went, but Brad Gillis is in this band, of course. He did a stint with Ozzy Osbourne, and then came back to Night Ranger, of course. He is right there. So I was kind of getting into his playing. I think it was the bridge between me and this band. I ended up loving the show. In fact, I remember running up front and singing along to Sister Christian and Don't Tell Me You Love Me and all the hits and stuff. And I remember telling Nathan later, I'm like, I like Night Ranger now? This is really strange. But I was into it, so there it is. Anyways, songs on this album, of course, it has the hits You Can Still Rock in America, When You Close Your Eyes, and of course, Sister Christian, the one song everyone remembers off this goddamn record. So there it is, Night Ranger. Number 2 is tell us your favorite mondegreen or favorite misheard lyric from a metal or hard rock band. Also, let me know if you actually prefer your wrong lyric instead of the correct one. So I have a bunch of these favorite misheard lyrics. I mean, as a kid, you're listening to the radio or whatever. You're not looking at a lyric sheet. So your brain basically just interprets it the way it's going to, especially if it's wrong. And oftentimes that's kind of funny. One of my favorite mondegreens is definitely from this album. This is the Scorpions with Love at First Sting, released in 1984 by Mercury Records. And the mondegreen is, of course, from the biggest hit song on this record, Rock You Like a Hurricane. The wrong lyric is, my birdie's burning, the sun says shout, desire's coming with bricks of lout. So the real lyric is, of course, my body is burning, it starts to shout, desire's coming, it breaks out loud. But of course, Klaus' thick German accent gives us something else entirely. And yes, I do prefer these screwed up lyrics to the real ones, in case you're wondering. Fantastic. There's a bunch of it on this record, other records too, but I think it's definitely that sort of native German accent kind of gets in the way of some American pronunciation. So it's fun. You can do it with all sorts of songs with the Scorpions. But of course, Love at First Sting, great album. Rock You Like a Hurricane. This is full of hits. I'm Leaving You's here. Big City Nights, Still Loving You. Great album. Crossfire, also a great song. You don't hear much about Crossfire. It's a pretty cool song and all of that. And I remember years later thinking this looked like Drew Barrymore, like an adult Drew Barrymore. Not when she was 9 years old when this record came out or however old she was. But yeah, pretty cool. Scorpions, Love at First Sting. And Rock You Like a Hurricane. Number 3 is discuss a metal or hard rock song in which every time you hear it, you anticipate the next track being different from that of its traditional track order because you're used to hearing it from a mixtape or a compilation album or a playlist online or even an album format that swapped the track order. Also show me the record it's from if you have it. So my example will explain this a little bit better. I'm going to go with swapped track order. The song in question is an instrumental track. It is found on this very album. This is Quiet Riot with Mental Health, released in 1983 by Pasha Records. The song, of course, is Battle Axe. I'll just flip it over here so you can see the track listing. What's really funny, though, is that Battle Axe here is on track 8, but on the cassette, it's on track 3, which is where I'm used to it being. And kind of see there. I had the cassette originally as a kid, so I'm used to this track order. And I got to be honest, I don't like the track order on the vinyl at all. It did swap places, by the way, with Don't Want to Let You Go. I should mention that. So on the cassette, you have Mental Health, Bang Your Head, you have Come On Feel the Noise, and then it goes straight into Battle Axe. Really cool sort of... I guess Carlos Cavazo wants to be Eddie Van Halen, kind of instrumental, quick thing. Maybe it's his Eruption, I guess. But it keeps the heaviness of the side one going. I like Don't Want to Let You Go shoved to the back, to the B-side more. And it makes more sense back there. So I don't ever really listen to this vinyl much. It's probably one of the few records I own I don't listen to because I go default to the cassette, or I make a playlist and swap tracks 3 and 8, which I've actually done. I just think it sounds better. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But yeah. I also have this problem with a certain Kiss reissue. If you're a Kiss fan, you probably know which one. But there it is, Quiet Riot, Mental Health. Number 4 is discuss a metal or hard rock band whose abrupt sound or image change really confused you. Show a relevant album if you have one. So let's go back to hard rock and talk about this little album. This is Motley Crue with Theater of Pain, released in 1985 by Elektra Records. And hoo boy, was this a shock. I mean, I came into the band on Shot of the Devil in late 1983, I believe. And great album, great image, by the way. I love the outfits they had on. It was a nice progression from the Too Fast for Love look, which was kind of this sort of dark glam kind of thing, but mostly pretty dark looking. And then we get to this, and I remember just being really confused. I think I was first confused. I bought the album, and I didn't look at the back cover when I bought it. And then I got it home and turned it around and saw this and went, what's going on here? What has Motley Crue done? And it should have been an omen of things to come, because I did listen to the record as well, and I was like, wow, this is weird, bad, bluesy, hard rock stuff. It's not that interesting. The band hates this album for the most part, Vince Neil in particular. We do hear the beginnings of Mick Mars's, again, bluesy playing, which we hear a lot more on in Girls, Girls, Girls. Production is kind of tinny. I'm not really excited about that. But the image, the cover, I should have been warned by the cover too. It's pretty bad. Also, I will be discussing this album in an episode of Do I Still Hate? In the coming weeks. We'll be doing a deep dive into it, so I will go into much more depth on this record then. But suffice it to say, what the hell happened to Motley Crue here? And they did try to course correct on Girls, Girls, Girls a little bit, but I don't know. There you go, Motley Crue. Number 5 is show and discuss a metal or hard rock album that featured a new band member that totally shocked or surprised you because you know him or her from another band. So here's a little choice from left field. This is Cycle Sluts from Hell with their self-titled debut album released in 1991 by Epic Records. And you might think that this all-girl band plays their own instruments, but they don't. Instead, they are all vocalists, and they have an all-male backup band. And of course, one of the guitar players in that band was none other than ex-Overkill guitarist Bobby Gustafson. This is apparently what he did after Overkill. It's very strange. In fact, you can see him in the music video for the single I Wish You Were a Beer, which is... it was mildly amusing back in 1991, but it's pretty cringy now. It's a pretty goofy song. The lyrics are awful. I think they're trying to be funny, but it just doesn't hold up now at all. So Bobby's on this record, and he sounds pretty good on it. I mean, it's not Overkill, but, it is what it is. I don't know any other song besides I Wish You Were a Beer on this, because I don't think I've heard this album in a really, really long time. I'm kind of looking at the track listing, and nothing is jumping out whatsoever. Of course, they do this screwball thing with the lyrics. You have to try to follow them there. But yeah, Cycle Starts from Hell. Band most people don't remember. Let me know in the comments if you do. They were on Morton Downey Jr. once, I believe, on an episode of that talk show. but I don't remember much else after that. And they kind of disappeared after a couple years, to be honest. They were kind of a one-hit wonder. Here today, gone later today, as David Lee Roth would say. There you go. Cycle sluts from hell. Number 6 is discuss a metal or hard rock album you like, an associated item of clothing, or a related hairstyle you wore that got you an unexpectedly negative response. And I mean very negative. If it is clothing or hairstyle, you should definitely let me know if a band is somehow the inspiration for it. So here's my tale. Towards the end of sophomore year of high school, basically the spring of 1984, I got the crazy idea to get a perm. I mean, my hair was somewhat long enough for it, and I thought, hey, I'll look just like Paul Stanley. Well, not so much. What I didn't account for is that hair shrinks in length when it goes curly, and on top of that, the hairdresser cut too much off. So basically, Matt had a fro. This fro. Given the time frame, this was the Paul look I was going for. This is Lick It Up, released in 1983 by Mercury Records. Great album. I did not look like this. I did not even look like Eric. It was ridiculous. So I got to school. I think I had it for a single day, and then I went to a hairdresser and got it relaxed after the day went through. I walked into a class. I can't remember the class specifically, but I do remember, and this is going to take a little bit of backstory here. Back in 1984, especially at my school in a city, there were a lot of racial divides in the school. The white kids stayed with the white kids, the black kids with the black kids. Puerto Ricans kind of moved between whites and themselves. So what that meant is that the black kids in particular just didn't really recognize that we even existed. And I think some of that was vice versa with some kids. So there were a bunch of black girls in the back of my class who wouldn't have given me the time of day, of course, socially. But when I walked in, they were on fire. I mean, they gave me such amounts of crap. The whole class, they were just laying into me the whole time. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is what bridges the racial gap? This? My stupid fro? I was like, this is amazing. But I always remember that day. And as I mentioned, of course, I also went, I think it was that same night after school, I went and got my hair relaxed. So it just had this slight wave in it. But I do remember also that day before I did that, I had to go to some event at the Worcester Memorial Auditorium. This is in Worcester, Massachusetts. And my grandmother took pictures. There were like 7 or 8 of them. And I remember finding them a week later, and I'm like, nope. So I destroyed all of those. I think I burned the negatives, but I definitely tore up the pictures. So for her, they magically disappeared. Where did they go? So there's no evidence of them whatsoever. And I was trying to imagine, like, if I was that same teenager in 2026, there would be records of this forever. Like, that mistake would live eternally on the internet. And you poor kids. That's all I could think when I was thinking about this story happening, 40 years later. Awful. So there it is. Trying to look like Paul Stanley, end up looking like, I don't know, someone with a fro. There you go. Number 7 is discuss a metal or hard rock song that has such a deep and nostalgic meaning to you that others might not understand or connect to the actual lyrics. Show the record if you can. So the song in question really does capture a moment in my teen years, this brief 3 months in 1986, which I will focus on in a future video. This is basically the time I got kicked out of high school and went out to Reno, Nevada, and had the most amazing time ever. There is a video forthcoming on that. I don't know when, but I'll make it one day. But one album in particular that was the soundtrack for that time is definitely this one, and we specifically have to talk about the opening track. Of course, this is the album Master of Puppets from Metallica, released in 1986 by Elektra Records. The song, of course, is Battery. And I have to say, even to this day, even when I put it on earlier today, every time those opening acoustic chords kick in, I get fucking chills. And I always just transport back to that period in 1986. It doesn't make sense because the song itself isn't about partying and having a good time and chasing girls at all. Battery is really what you would think it's about if you don't know, of course. But still, I mean, this whole album, I mean, The Thing That Should Not Be, Welcome Home Sanitarium, it has this odd, sentimental, very nostalgic draw for me. This record always will. It'll always remind me of that time period and all of that. And of course, I will, again, do the Reno albums video one day and go into extreme depth on this album in particular and what it means to me. But yeah, Battery from Master of Puppets always brings me back in time. Number 8 is discuss a legacy metal or hard rock album that you never liked when you were younger, but now think is fantastic. Showing that record would be nice too. So here's the record. This one's pretty easy. This is Def Leppard with their debut studio album On Through the Night, released in 1980 by Mercury Records. And holy shit, did I fucking hate this album in the beginning. At the time I had heard it, it was either December 83, January 84. I was at my friend Mike Kabashensky's house. Hi, Mike, if you're watching, which you're probably not. And I had already heard Pyromania. I was a huge fan of Pyromania for many months at this point. I hadn't heard High and Dry yet. I just couldn't find it anywhere. I think I found it like 85 or so in a record store. That ended up being my very favorite Def Leppard album. Pyromania fell to second place. But so I just had Pyromania in my head. And Mike played this record for me. And I remember first looking at the album cover going, this is the stupidest album cover ever. I mean, I get Space Truckin', you know, the Deep Purple reference. But holy shit, what a stupid album cover. But then the songs were just like, what's going on here? And at this time I hadn't heard a lot of Nawabum, especially the hard rock end of Nawabum. I was probably just getting into Venom. And they're kind of outliers of the Nawabum scene, but that was probably my introduction to Nawabum, the new wave of British heavy metal, in case you're a Luddite. But yeah, this album, and now I love it. It's crazy. Rock Brigade, here's the funny thing. So Rock Brigade starts the album, and the riff itself, like the lead riff, is very Kiss-like. If you really listen to it, it sounds like something Paul Stanley wrote. And why didn't I gravitate to it because of that? I was a huge Kiss fan as a teenager. Very strange. But I do love Rock Brigade. I love Hello America a lot. Satellite's a cool song. Rocks Off is probably my favorite. Wasted is probably my favorite as well. And Answer to the Master is a great song as well. So now I freaking love this album. But holy shit did I hate it as a teenager. And it took me until maybe even the late 1990s to rediscover this record and say, it's not so bad. There you go. Def Leppard, On Through the Night. Number 9 is discuss a favorite but deceased metal or hard rock musician who you never thought would die so prematurely, and then tell us what his music meant to you. Show a record, if possible. So, this one's easy. Of course, it's the late Ronnie James Dio. I mean, I was fortunate enough to meet him back in 2002, and I've told that whole story in at least one other video, so if you want to see that, you should check out my top 10 favorite rock and metal musicians I'd met video here at the channel. But yeah, even though he was in his 60s when he went, I always thought we'd have him forever. I mean, crazy. Of course, this is my favorite album from him. This is The Last in Line, released in 1984 by Warner Brothers. Killer songs on it, of course. We Rock, great song, Last in Line. There isn't a song I dislike on this album at all. Even Egypt, the Chains Are On. What a great song. A bit of a deep cut, but I do love it. When I saw him in 2002, they played that song. I was pretty amazed. But yeah, it's crazy that Dio's gone. He was so influential on so many traditional metal singers, but also power metal singers. Some of his songwriting was influential in all of that, and I miss him dearly. What a great guy. I was more upset, I guess, when Dio died than when Ozzy died, which is maybe saying something. We lost a great artist, for sure. And definitely listen to Last in Line. Also, Holy Diver, another great album. But there it is. Dio, rest in peace. Of course, I do want to hear from you about your own unexpected stories involving bands and albums of either the metal or hard rock persuasion. Since this is a thread video, you are highly encouraged to make a thread response video to this. I'll leave all 9 prompts in the description of this video so you can make your own. Definitely do it. But if you don't want to do it, you can also leave your responses and anything else that comes to mind in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And this is probably a good time to once again mention that we have t-shirts now. You can check out the link in the description of this video. Go on over to our big cartel store and pick up an awesome t-shirt. Yet another way to support the channel. And exactly what channel is this, some of you might ask? Well, this is the Accusation Network. My name is Matt, and we do videos here on metal vinyl collecting, but also classic and modern metal in general. If that sounds of interest and you want to see more content along those lines, please subscribe. Also, maybe like this video and share it and others with your friends on social media. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.